Okay, so let's just jump right in. Picture this. It's the year 2026, and if you're a developer, you've got a serious problem. You try to write one single line of code, and suddenly like a dozen different AI agents are screaming at each other in your terminal. Look, this is definitely not the future we asked for, but it is the one we've got.
And hey, if that doesn't feel weird enough, get a load of this. The CEO of Replit is out here saying that all those years you spent learning to code, they might actually be holding you back now. And why is that? Well, because while you're busy trying to perfect the architecture, some kid is going to ship a full-blown product in a fraction of the time. The whole game has changed. It's not about the perfect handcrafted code base anymore. It's all about speed.
That's right. Welcome to what some are calling the dark ages of Slop Overflow. The good old days of meticulously crafting code are, well, they're over. You know that dopamine hit you'd get from solving a tough problem line by line? Forget about it. Now you just tell an AI what you want and then, just watch as it hallucinates an entire codebase into existence.
But listen, this is not the end of the world. The only real way forward is to just lean in and embrace the chaos. You have to stop thinking like a coder and start thinking like a conductor. The hard truth is, we are not going back. So your new job description? It's to learn how to enslave the machines. Let's take a look at the tools that are going to help you do exactly that.
First one up. Now, if you're an indie dev, you used to have to wear like a million different hats, right? You were the front-end guy, the back-end guy, the security expert, the designer. I mean, the list is endless. Well, not anymore. Now, you just need to hire the right agent. And that's exactly where our first tool comes into play. So what is the agency? It's this absolutely brilliant open source project that gives you a whole library of ready-made AI agent templates. And these aren't just for coding. They cover pretty much any job you can think of in a tech startup. It's basically like having an entire company on standby waiting for your command.
For example, you can just grab a front-end developer agent, pair it with a security engineer, maybe even throw in a growth hacker and a Twitter engager. The whole point here is that you can mix and match these agents to go from just an idea to a real shipped product without ever getting your hands dirty with the direct implementation.
Okay, so you've put together your dream team of AI agents. But how do you know if your instructions, your prompts, are actually any good? You know the saying, garbage in, garbage out? You absolutely need a way to make sure your agents are being effective. Let's see how this next tool tackles that problem. And that brings us to Prompt Foo. Think of it like a unit testing framework, but instead of testing code, it tests your AI prompts. And hey, if you need any more proof that this is a big deal, OpenAI themselves just acquired them. This is the tool for making sure that your interactions with AI are sharp, optimized, and totally reliable.
But it's about so much more than just finding which model gives the best answer. The real magic here is security. It can actually automate what are called red team attacks to find weaknesses in your prompts. This is what stops some 14-year-old on Discord from tricking your app into spitting out all of its private API keys. Super important.
All right, so we've covered how to manage your team of agents. Now let's talk about leveling up their skills. We're going to look at some tools that can help your AI do things like predict the future, design really beautiful UIs, and maybe most importantly, actually remember what it's learned.
I mean, what's the point of building an amazing product if you're building the wrong thing entirely? To really win, you have to know where the market is headed, and that's where a tool like Mirrorish comes in.
This thing is wild. It basically creates this miniature artificial social network. It sucks in all the latest breaking news and financial data, and then it unleashes a bunch of different AI agents, each with their own personality, to react and discuss all that data. It's analyzing trends to predict what's going to happen next. And yet, for now, the project is in Chinese, which just goes to show you how much of a global race this AI revolution really is.
Okay, so Mirrorish just handed you a billion-dollar app idea. Awesome. You get your agents to build it, and what happens? The UI has those same boring purple gradients that every other AI-generated app seems to have. Yuck. To fix that, you're going to need Impeccable. It's a fantastic open-source tool designed to make your front end not suck.
And the workflow for it is just perfect. First, you run the distill command, and that simplifies a messy, complex UI. Then you use Colorize to inject your own brand colors. And finally, you can sprinkle in some real personality with commands like Animate and Delight to make your UI feel special and, actually fun to use.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about maybe the single most important skill for a modern AI engineer, managing context. Because if your agent's context is garbage, I promise you its output is going to be garbage. This is a massive, massive challenge, especially when it comes to long-term memory. And this is where OpenViking is a game changer. Instead of just shoving everything into a messy vector database, it organizes an agent's memory, its resources, and its skills into a file system that you'd actually recognize. It's just a much, much saner way to manage an agent's context. And the payoff here is huge. It has this tiered looting system that drastically cuts down on how many tokens you're using, which directly saves you a ton of money on API calls. Plus, and this is the really cool part, it automatically compresses and refines an agent's long-term memory over time, so it literally gets smarter the more you use it. So far, we've looked at tools for managing and improving existing AI models. But what if you want more? What if you want total, ultimate control, with absolutely no one telling your AI what it can or can't do? Okay, now we're getting to the really fun stuff.
Yeah, depending on what you're building, you might not need an agent that's smarter. You might actually need one that's a little less, well, filtered. Almost all the big commercial models have these safety guardrails that stop you from doing certain things. But what if you want to take them off?
Well, there's a tool for that called Heretic. It's open source, and according to its creators, its job is to remove this draconian woke censorship from AI models. It uses this wild technique they call obliteration, which finds and just rips out the parts of the model that are responsible for the censorship, all without needing expensive retraining. You run it on a censored model, and out comes an AI with no bubble wrap that'll do whatever you tell it to do.
But look, taking the guardrails off of someone else's model is one thing. If you want true, unadulterated freedom and control, you need to build your own model from scratch. And I know, that probably sounds completely impossible for one person, but it's really not anymore.
And this right here, this is the number that should really blow your mind. Using a tool called NanoChat, you can train your very own small language model for about $100 in GPU time. It handles the entire process, from tokenization all the way to a web UI. Now, it's not going to be GPT-5, but it will be a model that you have absolute 100% total control over.
So let's just wrap this all up. From building agent teams with the agency, to making sure they're effective with PromptFU, and even all the way to building your own uncensored models with Heretic and NanoChat, the theme here is crystal clear. The skill set of a developer is fundamentally changing.
The job isn't about the art and craft of writing code by hand anymore. It's about being an orchestrator. It's about optimizing and controlling huge legions of AI agents. It's about conducting the symphony of slop. So, the only question that's really left is, are you ready for it?